Teacher, if you mind leading us on.
I would love to. Thank you. Please join me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day, and thank you for the men and women that are here that bless us with your knowledge and your compassion and your guidance to make the decisions for the city that are for the best of our community. Dear Lord, please be with each and every person here and be with their families. Bless them with good health and happiness. I ask these things in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Number one, discuss golf course advisory board attendance. Steve.
I'm here.
Right.
I'm ready.
Hey.
First on the list. Thank y'all.
You're number one.
Number one. Boys and one. Great shirt. That is my name.
Where are
Did y'all
you?
call each other or?
Where are
You
you?
didn't get the memo?
No.
Bright colors. Real quick, the Golf Course Advisory Committee has reviewed a recommendation that we had from the previous committee. The previous committee had a really hard time getting a quorum. We had a lot of people absent. And then we changed our meeting dates to every other month. So we're meeting just 6 times a year. And with that, I asked this current board if they would like to implement the same recommendation the previous board had, which was you miss 3 times, you're out of there. And that way we can ensure that we get a quorum, we've got people attending that want to be there, and it'll help maintain a board that we need to have in place. So they made the recommendation to come forward and make that recommendation into the ordinance, and we'll implement this attendance record now 3 times within the course of a year, and you're off the board. We have an attendance record with the Park and Recreation Advisory Board. It's 4 times within any 6-month period, and you're out there. And it's worked. It keeps a quorum. People that they know when we're scheduled, and it really is a good thing. People will be there when they know that there's a possibility of getting kicked off. So it's kind of a house cleaning, but I think it's a good thing. It keeps people coming.
Well, these are volunteers, right?
Appointed by y'all.
Right, and they do have personal jobs or responsibilities and things like that.
Yeah.
How many meetings does this board have again?
6 a year.
6 a year?
Right.
Is that every other month?
Correct.
How many have they had?
Since its inception,
Well, no, this year,
we're on, that would be the third.
the third.
At the third one. And we try to have it from like 11:30 until 1 at the latest. So we try to accommodate some free time during the lunch times. And most of the people on there have got the flexibility to leave their job or they're retired.
When was the last meeting, Steve?
About 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
Because I called my guy that I appointed and asked him about this, and he said that he missed 1 meeting because he was unable to attend, but other than that, he has not received any type of notification of any other meetings. And I don't necessarily know when we appointed him. Do you
This
recall
is
that?
fairly recent.
Just recent, about
It's
2
been
weeks ago.
Yes, I would think he's only
is that?
Had one meeting in, yeah.
Yes.
And are they set times? They know like it's the 3rd Tuesday or whatever of
Every other month.
every other
Correct.
month. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you very much,
Check
Steve.
with you, Norma, to see, and we'll clarify, I wanna make sure that everybody
Yeah,
gets
just
those
check on it.
notices. Yeah, and Mary's real good about calling and reminding, and I'll follow up.
Okay.
And make sure that he is being contacted.
Okay.
We usually by email, and then we'll do a phone call. the day
Okay.
before.
Thank you, sir.
I think it's important. I know they're volunteers, but they know when they're wanted that they really do need to make, it's important to be there, so. I think
Great.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Great, thank y'all.
Number 2, discuss city Sodesa participation in UTPD STEM. Mr. Maris.
Hi. So this item would allow the city to participate in UTPD STEM Academy's internship program. And currently they offer this to juniors and seniors who are on the graduation track. And they have to be in the area of concentration of either engineering, computer technology, or biomedical studies. So we would be requesting up to 4 intern students, 3 of which would be on the engineering track. We would place them with our engineers in both public works and utilities, and then rotate them throughout the duration of their internship. And then we would be requesting 1 on the biomedical track, and they would be placed in the health clinic throughout the duration of their internship. They would intern for up to anywhere between 5 to 10 hours a week, Monday through Friday, and the hours are normally 1:30 to 3:30. So it just depends on what their availability is. And the internships can run either semester long or a full year, depending on their curricular schedule.
He's fantastic. Anything we can do to help the kids.
So, but what about time-wise? I mean, I know you can represent, you know, Public Works, but do y'all have time to be having kids?
I
there?
did, we reached out to our engineers to make sure that they were gonna be able to devote the time that the students needed. As far as the biomedical student, we had initially intended on placing them in the water treatment plants, and our laboratory services.
Right.
But he did indicate that he didn't feel he would have the time to dedicate, so that's why we shifted over to the health clinic, and I reached out to Belinda and made sure, she normally takes, family and nurse practitioner students, so she said she would be willing to take one additional high school student to be able to have them rotate there as well.
And so the children are selected how?
They have to apply, submit an application with the school, and then they have a committee that goes through the application and interviews them. And then they would, based on whether they meet other district requirements, they would be selected.
So they have to take the initiative?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this a paid?
No, it's unpaid internship.
And they are all high school.
They're all high school, they're all a junior. Currently, UTPB STEM only goes up to 11th grade. When they get senior students, they'll be offering it to their seniors as well. So they have to be at least 16 years of age.
Okay, any other questions?
Are you comfortable that with the time could?
Yes, and so certainly that's one of the questions, yeah, 'cause I've had interns before, and sometimes I have found myself with not enough time to devote. But I think the engineering staff has enough work in terms of that they can work with the student. So not only show them what an engineer does, but I think the bigger value for us, the city, is that we want to get young people interested in municipal government and what we do, because we offer a number of different career paths, engineering and nursing as well. So yes, we're all comfortable.
And there's no issue with them being 16, 17-year-olds?
No,
We
and they're
checked,
internships.
Yes, we did check with our human resources and our risk management to make sure that everything was fine. Our HR department did give us additional forms for them to fill out prior to their first day. So we have those, and we're gonna email those over to the school so they can get those distributed to the students.
So what type of oversight is there?
They would have one person that the school would be the liaison, which would be myself, but I would be communicating with Belinda and Yvonne and Esteban over at utilities as their engineers to make sure that they are keeping them on a good track.
So you're in charge of making sure the liaison between the
city
departments?
and the school, yes.
Okay, other question? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 3, discuss annexation of the city of Odessa and the original zoning of light industrial, Flying J. Mr. Brennan.
Yes, sir. This will be the first reading of the ordinance. We've already had 2 public hearings related to this. And it's the Flying J Truck and Travel Center that's at the southwest, or the northwest corner of West Loop 338 and Trump Highway. It's about 7 acres, and they're ready to be brought into the city, and I think they've already started construction on it. So really no issues on it. It's just bring y'all up to date that this will be the first reading of the ordinance. And we'll have one more reading after that, and then it'll be complete.
Okay. Questions? Yes.
One comment on that, we're gonna also, we're adding in original zoning to the annexation ordinance now, and we'll also add into the final version of the ordinance, when Randy brings it to you, the allocation of that space to single-member district number 3.
Oh, okay.
It's currently not even living in there, it's a commercial property. So all property has to be added to one of them.
Yes.
So how does this county
Sure,
situation
take it. That should, seems an
factor
odd
into
jump.
this?
Well, if we can get into that a little
We're
bit
gonna
later.
go to executive session.
we will.
Gary, that'll go in the 3.
Councilmember Whites, am I
Yeah.
saying the number wrong?
Well, no, I'll sure take it, but that's actually Mara's,
Is that,
yeah. That would be
I must
part
be
of
thinking of
Mara's.
the map wrong, and it's the extending out along University, I'm sorry.
No, it should be extended now 42nd.
Yeah,
42nd.
42nd
Yeah.
Kermit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Whatever you want, I'm good with it.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Next, Chief Gerke, discuss 2019-20 budget for the Emergency Communication District of Ector County.
Kevin Jones, the executive director with the 911 board, is unable to be here, but I'm on that board, so here we go. The Emergency Communication District of Ector County exists to facilitate bringing the 911 call from the citizen to dispatch. Not from dispatch to the PD or anything like that, but that's their goal, that's their purpose for existing. If you look at the budget, there's no huge, tremendous new expenditures this year. It has stayed pretty much the same. The district feels that the infrastructure in place is in fairly good shape, and it is actually accumulating funds to move forward with next gen 911 down the line. So, if there's any questions with that.
Are there any questions?
We can absolutely have Kevin Jones here for council if need be.
Any other questions? Okay, item 5, discuss 2019 BJA Edward Bernie Memorial Justice System Grant Program.
This is commonly referred to as our JAG grant at the PD. This is just a resolution to approve us to apply for and accept the JAG grant in the amount of $91,770. There is no matching funds needed from the city. Of the $91,770, $75,377 come to the Odessa Police Department and $16,393 go to the Ector County Sheriff's Office. The Justice Department makes that split depending on population and crime. And we have been a part of this, since as long as I can remember.
Any questions?
Not for that, but
Sure.
can I go back just a
Sure.
little bit on the 911
Sure.
budget? Just out of curiosity.
Yes.
It's showing, is this a reduction in the amount for personnel?
Yes, it is.
Did they lose an employee, or what is the?
Yeah, that's what happened, that they lost an employee, and then by hiring a new employee, that employee came in at lower salaries.
Okay.
I actually do have something.
Sure.
Gary, stop me if can't discuss or whatever. I was in Dallas this weekend.
Okay.
And it was something very interesting. The mayor of Dallas actually contacted state troopers because they're shorthanded because of all the murders. And they had to pull a lot of officers off the street to work some murders. And they contacted state troopers to patrol a certain area,
Yes.
South Dallas, in Dallas. And man, the results were amazing.
And they do that for a limited amount of time.
Right. Have you guys?
We've actually been in.
You can ask that question.
Yeah.
We've actually been in contact with the regional director here with that, yes, and actually, we're in the process of formulating a letter to ask him to allow troopers to work traffic inside of city limits.
Awesome.
Yes.
Appreciate that, Chief.
Okay, any other questions? Item 6, discuss the use of electronic signatures and acceptance of the 2020 STEP.
This is a resolution for approval of the use of electronic signatures and acceptance of the 2020 STEP, which is the Selected Traffic Enforcement Program in the amount of $25,717.27. Of that, $20,575.08 would be from the state, and the city would require a cash match of $5,142. We have been a part of this program for many years also. This pays for enforcement, overtime enforcement for officers in selected zones. We actually find the hot zones where we're having more accidents than any other areas, and we work speeding, seat belts, stop signs, red lights, and now we can work DWI enforcement in those areas also.
Okay, any questions about that? Okay, item 7, discuss an interlocal agreement with Ector County for the division of 2019 JAG grant.
And that's just simply the MOU with the county, splitting those monies as we talked about earlier. That's required by the JAG grant, that we have that MOU and that we split the monies the way they are.
the way they want to split it. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you,
Appreciate it,
sir.
Chief. Thank you, sir.
Item 8, discuss the TERS bylaws.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor. This agenda item, the first one is to consider the approval of the downtown tiers or the tax reinvestment zone number 1 bylaws. These bylaws were drafted by the city's legal department, and they were also reviewed by the city's tiers consultant, Travis James. And they have been approved by the board and have been forwarded to the council and as recommended for approval. A couple of highlights within the bylaws. All of the records for the tiers group will be accessible to the city manager and council at all times. The group or the board may spend up to $50,000 without council approval, and the reasoning behind that is that anything over $50,000 requires that we have competitive bidding for any contract above that amount. And also they have an annual chairman that will need to be appointed by council as well.
Okay, any questions on the bylaws?
Well, give us 1 second.
All right.
Hold on, Marshall Taylor.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Diddy. Good pass those around. Yeah, I just passed them around, just make sure. Any other questions? And then do we need to discuss the board chair now, as far as?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Council, Mr. Mayor, this next agenda item is to consider the appointment of a chairperson to the tax reinvestment zone number 1. The committee or the board did have a meeting on June 24th, and they have recommended to council that Toby Oaf be appointed as the chairman. And this would be for a 1-year period, so it would expire at the end of this year, and then he can be up for reappointment. They're just 1 calendar year.
And the board
The board-
recommended that?
Yes, sir, and I attached the minutes from their meeting that Mr. Romaldo had.
Is that unanimous?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay, so we'll vote on that in the meeting
Yes, sir.
next Tuesday. Okay, any other questions? Turn it over to the Cindy Show, discuss the tax rate.
This agenda item is to consider a proposal to establish a maximum tax rate of .476601 for fiscal year 2019. This is the tax rate per $100 valuation assessed. It's higher than the effective rate of .3946848, and it's lower than the rollback tax rate of .483886, and represents no change compared to last year's adopted tax rate. We will be holding our public hearings on August the 27th and on September 10th, and we will take the vote on the property tax rate on September 23rd and September 24th. That's a back-to-back Monday and Tuesday meeting. The Monday meeting will be for the tax rate only. Okay? I have handed you out some pages from the proposed budget that deals with the tax. The first page is a required cover letter that goes into the beginning of our budget book, and it talks about that we're keeping the tax rate the same, but it will generate more money because of the increased value. The increase correlates to the increased value of 22.7%, and $945,219 is attributable to new property that was added to the tax roll for fiscal year 1920. So the next page is just, we had a slight change in our calculation from what we gave you at the budget, council retreat budget workshop, and so I gave you a new page. On the next page, you have the final certified values for Midland and for City of Odessa limits inside Midland County and Ector County
of 10,113,172,830, and again, that represents a 22.7% increase in value. On the following page, I broke down between ECAD and MCAD, that's Ector County Appraisal District, Midland County Appraisal District. The values, the market values, the exemptions for the total of the 10 billion. I showed you the percentage of exemptions to market value. That seems to be something council's interested in the past. I also reflected, and this is for Ector County Appraisal District only, the average taxable home value for 19 is $144,018. That generates $686.39 of city tax. The average home tax value for the prior year was $129,664, and that generated $617.98, and you can see the net change there of $68. And then I also just provided y'all copies of the actual certified rolls, including the very last page, which is the TERS. And I will remind you that the TERS amount is also included in Ector County's total amount, okay? And it shows you that our baseline year of value was $119,718,295, and you can see the taxable value now is at $144,841,870. Okay? Got any questions on that?
Any questions?
Again, this is just establishing the maximum tax rate. We'll actually take the vote after we have the two public hearings.
So the tax rate stays the same as last year.
Yes,
They will probably see an increase in their taxes, but it's based on
the value
of
of the
their land.
increase. Absolutely, yes ma'am. Okay.
Okay. Item 11, discuss series 2019 debt issuance. Ms. Muncy.
Council, I sent an email to y'all yesterday afternoon. We vote on our CO issue at the next meeting on August the 13th. And we have completed our ratings calls with Moody's and S&P. We select who we have our ratings with, and we traditionally use Moody's and S&P. And I will read a few excerpts from this. Moody's rated us, upgraded our rating from AA3 to an AA2, and they attributed that to our credit strengths, conservative fiscal management, our above medium operating reserves, large and growing tax base, and local ability to adjust pension liabilities. They did reference a moderate though manageable debt and pension burden, and they thought the economic boom was translating into rapidly growing tax base. At the same time, much to our dismay, S&P downgraded us one. This is very highly unusual that you have rating agencies split how they do their ratings. I think George said in his 30 years he'd never seen that happen. They highlighted the Fireman's Relief and Retirement Fund, and as council's aware that pension plan has been in trouble in the past. They went before the Pension Review Board for the state 2 years ago, and they revised their total plan. They made a lot of changes to the benefits that they were offering. They increased their contribution percentage. The city also increased their contribution percentage as well. And they were on a 10-year plan with the Pension Review Board to get the plan turned around. And so we think they're still on track for that. When last quarter of 18 had some investment losses, and it kind of went down a little bit. And so that's just the time that the actuary valuation was done. So we're hoping that turns around. We are scheduled to go back before the Pension Review Board in September this year. That will include city representatives, the board representatives for the plan, as well as their actuary.
What do we plan to have as a registered agent?
I'm sorry.
agent to register the bonds?
Oh, that would,
Who's going to
we
be,
have four
responsible?
different underwriters that are handling that. Frost, Wells Fargo, Chase, and JP Morgan. And I believe Frost is the lead underwriter on those. They're all aware of the ratings that have taken place. We've had a phone call discussion with the underwriters. None of them showed any concern and are proceeding as business as usual. And we don't anticipate any change in how they sell or our interest rate.
And you said we were downgraded by whom again?
S&P
S&P downgraded us to what?
to an A plus we were an AA minus. So they took us down to A plus. But Moody's upgraded us from an AA2 from an AA3 to an AA2 with a favorable look, or stable look. So much different and highly unusual.
Cindy, what were the four again? Frost, JP Morgan?
Chase and Wells Fargo.
Okay, questions?
And
I do. We had said that we were gonna put some information out on the website about the certificate of obligation. Do we have?
The pages, they,
Yeah, we have that.
can I see the indenture agreement on that, on those? Do we have that? Are you guys gonna have that available?
It will be, it's not to us yet, but we will. Now, you have the actual, attached to the agenda item was the actual ordinance that included, but that had blanks in it until we actually market the bonds. Those will be done on August 12th, so that you can vote on those on August 13th. Okay?
okay, other questions?
With council's permission, on the bond ratings, I will give this to Paul for disclosure.
And that was drafted by our.
That was drafted between myself and our bond advisor,
Our bond advisors are,
George Williford with Hilltop Securities.
Okay, any other questions? Okay,
And that is the vote on the bonds next week, Tuesday.
okay. Item 12, budget filing update.
Okay. When we had our council retreat budget workshop, and y'all determined that you wanted to stay with the same tax rate of .476601, that made a slight adjustment to the revenues for the general fund. So I've provided you an extra group of papers. This gives you a budget summary for all funds that require a budget. We do have some funds that do not require a budget. That would be our capital projects type funds. And it's got 3 pages of budget summary that you're welcome to review. I also included a new general fund overview because the revenue number changed slightly. And I included the risk management overview. We reduced the amount of revenue that we were doing because of y'all's decision not to charge any increase to our employees. So I wanted to make sure that y'all got those revisions. We will file the budget. We're required to file it 30 days before we take a tax vote. So we're due to file that this Friday, August the 9th. It is a proposed budget. We will have our first budget hearing on August the 27th, and then we will adopt the budget on September 10th's meeting.
Okay, questions? Okay, thank you very much. Next, we're going over textile projects. The projects have changed quite a bit because of the growth we're seeing in the Permian Basin. The first page is this page with the dots on it. Most of these projects have happened because of the allocations of the ODC money, where we put $15 million towards projects to be able to get them funded quicker. So I wanted to bring you this page. I asked Motor to put this together, and it will show you when these projects are coming into fruition. Right now, probably the first one we're gonna see is the 52nd. That's one of the very dangerous intersections that are going to put lights up there. There is an overpass coming, but the overpass is probably about 4 years away.
Where'd you say 56?
52nd, it's the pink one right
Okay.
here. Also in the future, you will see up north, there's a 385 and the loop. It's up on the top, it's gonna be hard to see it. Right there, that is gonna be in 2020. They are finishing up the construction, the right-of-way acquisition, the environmentals, the drainage, the utility easements and all that kind of stuff. Then you can see around the rest, there is gonna be a new I-20 overpass put in. We'll go over that here just a little bit, but this will kind of give you an update. Another project that's not on here right now is the 87th and Andrews Highway, or 87th and 385. That one is in design right now. It is such a strange intersection because it's two intersections right beside each other. So they are looking at maybe closing part of that access road to be able to restrict traffic. Probably gonna put in a light there, but to hopefully fix that intersection. Because that one, you lose a lot of people there too. If you go to the next page. Yeah, it's that one. It's actually on the back of the very back. These are studies that are in the works right now. It's a loop study. A lot of that loop is 2-lane, and it needs to be a 4-lane. So the Motor, or the TxDOT is actually doing a study on that, and they're gonna allocate money to expand the loop on the north side of town, to be able to get the lanes that we need to keep the trucks on the loop as opposed to in town. They are also doing a study of West County Road.
That's what I was gonna ask, did it
Yes,
just
ma'am.
kind of fall off into a,
No, it's in the study. They're actually doing a study of that, 42nd and Yukon. So, because when you asked about it, that's when they put it on there, and it's actually, they're going to let it probably in the next 3 months. They have to put it all together, but they are talking about speed controls on West County and speed controls on 42nd. Talking about maybe some.
Speed controls like what?
They're talking about maybe restricting some access in some areas with medians, because a lot of times, if you have 2 streets, there's 3 entrances. You got each street and an alley. Well, sometimes that can cause more accidents, and so those are TxDOT roads. TxDOT will be responsible for all of that, but they are studying that problem.
good, there's 3 today. 3 of them.
Yeah.
Mayor,
So-
on that loop expansion, is that a 5-lane section that they're
It's
looking
gonna be a 5-lane section. So, and you can see the amounts of money that TxDOT is putting into
And so this dotted line is a study?
these are studies.
What type of study? What-
They're looking at traffic counts and the ways to make it safer. Because 42nd, you're not gonna divert much traffic from that, but Parkway and 42nd is in the top 10 in the state as far as traffic volumes and intersections.
I mean, as a side note, I would think that if we were to spread out housing development, we would actually disseminate some of this traffic. 'Cause
Yep, and it's been a growing problem. University's gonna help, but it's still gonna be a lot of traffic. There's one more, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna ask you, on that first page,
Yes.
on the construct a new interchange for 8th and the Loop,
Yes,
to be determined?
that is actually,
Is that like
They,
for?
what they've done is they actually had to rate the programs, and we've actually put $2 million towards this. And so they are TxDOT is allocated a lot more money. Chairman Bud came out here with TxDOT. They came out and they've actually allocated, they're trying to get 600 million from the state. But they're also going to Washington and trying to get $1 billion there. Because we are the old driver in the nation. We are the reason that we're, well, energy independent. And they have to take care of this because we can't keep doing what we're doing
Yeah.
without the roads.
I just know that's a bad intersection and there've been a number of fatality.
That's why we put the 2
accidents
million
there.
towards it to get it up there.
I just didn't know where it, when it had that TB.
Yeah,
TBD.
I will call, I'll
that
call,
was-
and ask him, because I didn't even notice that they hadn't put that on there.
So may I ask, why not the study on Second Street? It's a major vein that runs right directly through not only
So
the
as
city,
far as traffic right now,
but we're,
the biggest ones we're dealing with are 42nd and West County. Second does need to be looked at, but it was kind of the third, because as far as traffic volumes, West County and 42nd are the two biggest we have.
And I guess second,
Second is also a TxDOT road,
yeah, it is.
so. But in the past, they would study one road every year. And because of the money coming in, now they can actually study 3 roads over here.
so what determines priority then?
Traffic volume. And probably wrecks. So, the last one, just to give you an update, this one shows the interstate. TxDOT has allocated about $368 million towards the interstate.
And this is out of the 600 rate.
This is out of the 600. What they're going to do is convert all of the frontage roads to one-way, all the way down. That's a dangerous situation, people coming off too fast. And so they have the money to go ahead and do all of that. There are gonna be some overpass changes because they are looking towards the future of making I-20 3 lanes each way. That will be the other part of the $600 million. Because when you go under an underpass, you have to do a lot of road work to be able to make it fit underneath overpasses. There is a new overpass going to be built. It's gonna be built on Faudree and I-20. Because the last exit is 338 until 1788. If you got off on the wrong place, you gotta go
Absolutely,
all the
I
way.
did that just this week.
You gotta go all the way to,
The last exit is what again?
is Loop 338 and I-20 on the east. So if you,
1788.
there's, because you have 338 and then you have 1788. So if you made a mistake, you gotta go all the way 1788 to turn around to come back. And so,
To legally turn.
so there are a lot of redneck turnarounds out there, yeah.
Just saying.
I'm just,
Guilty conscience.
no, I was just looking out for
And
it.
so what about the exchange, the interpass exchange at Grandview? Because I've noticed, and I myself have come very close to getting in an accident because of the short.
They are expanding
Entrance.
all of those because they have to. Too many times you see people getting off, but they're stacked up out in the interstate.
Right.
That's why they're flipping them all. And it's going to be a 5-year project. They flip some of them, but all of them still have to go through it. Because it's just not safe if you restrict that to one-way traffic. And so, but that's kind of give you an idea where they are. The state has been good, but we also did that resolution to send to the state, so we still need more money. So. All right, takes us to item 14. We'll be recessed for executive session as authorized by the Texas Government Code, section 551.071, consultation with attorney. I will need a motion to go into executive.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We are now in executive session. All right. Need a motion to come out of
So
executive.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are now out of executive session and no action was taken. We were out at 6:31. We need a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Yes.
It's
Ms.
this
Ock?
one.
I'm hungry.
But this one's a good
No
one.
action
All right.
taken?
No
This
action
one's
was
a
taken
good
in that, no, because there was no formal vote.
Okay.
It was just,
Okay.
so, is authorized by the Texas Government Code, section 551.074, personnel matters, to consider the evaluation of applications for the position of city attorney, including the possible appointment of new city attorney. We need a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are now in executive session.
All of that.
These books on page better, if somebody read this to me.
All right, we need a motion to come out.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to come out of executive session. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Interlocal agreement.
We are
for
now
the
out of
city and the
executive
county
session
that
at
they're on the
6:43
committee.
and no actions were
You're on the
taken.
courthouse. you're
So
gonna
I will
be doing
entertain a
it.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are
We need to
adjourned.
keep the big notebook.